Welcome to Community Calendar. I'm filling in today, and with me today is Shelby Rasmussen from the Humane Society of the Lakes and my new boyfriend, Diego. So, Shelby, I love cats, so Diego and I are going to hang out, and you can fill in today.
That sounds great to me. Again, I'm Shelby with the Humane Society. I'm here today with a very exciting announcement. We had started an event called Cat-tember last month for September, where we were offering half-price cat adoptions, and we are actually going to be extending that through the month of October. The reason for doing so is because we are kind of in a cat crisis. We have a little over 80 cats on our wait list. That means they are waiting to come into the Humane Society for their chance at their forever home. Currently, we have 27 cats that are available at the shelter for adoption. Please stop by. They would love to meet and greet you. Stay for a little bit. Maybe you'll find your forever sweetheart.
I'm not real familiar with how the Humane Society works. Are they vaccinated before they can be adopted?
Yes, absolutely. They are vaccinated. Most of them have been fixed as well. So that's an awesome saver right there. Only $65 for a cat that's been immunized and fixed.
And that's with the half price?
That is absolutely $65. Just like little Diego, he's ready to go home to his forever home and sleep on your cuddly couch.
Yes, I can sit and watch cats all day. Don't tell Jeff that I watch cat videos here, okay? No. So you also have an event coming up to help raise money for the Humane Society.
Yes, we absolutely do. Tuxes and Tails, our annual fundraiser, is coming up on December 6th. So please mark your calendars. Holmes Theater. Hopefully little Diego has his forever home and he's cuddled up on your couch by then watching the snowfall.
Another question I have is, can you just go to the Humane Society and, I just kind of want to check out what you have and kind of browse and not have to buy at the time?
Yes, absolutely. No pressure. Come say hi to us. Come read a book to a little kitten. Just play for a little bit. Take a dog on a walk. Come check us out. See what we're all about. We always love visitors. So, yeah, stop out.
Awesome. All right. Come and catch Diego here and many of the other cats at the Humane Society of the Lakes right here in Detroit Lakes. Thanks, Shelby, for being on the Community Calendar today. Back to Community Calendar, and now we're with Peter Paulson from Younglife, and it looks like you have an event coming up.
Yeah, I feel like we have an event like every 2 weeks, so it's kind of one of those crazy things. But we have one of our big events coming up, actually, our Younglife fundraising banquet, which is coming up on October 13th. It's one of our major events of the year for just connecting with adults in the community, celebrating what's been going on in the last year here, and then also just kind of setting our vision for the future. So it's a fun event. We anticipate having a couple hundred folks out to Castaway, which is our Younglife camp out on Pelican, and it's going to be a fun night, yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about Younglife, and is it local? How do you get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Younglife is actually the largest youth ministry in the world right now, and we're in 105 countries, the last I heard. And so Younglife's all over the world. What we're talking about with this is particularly with the Lakes area. So it's just for kids from the Detroit Lakes, Frazee, Lake Park, Audubon, Hawley areas, and it's work that gets done with local high school and middle school age kids. So we work with kids at the middle school, at the high school, at the ALC. And what it really is it's a bunch of caring adults who build relationships with kids in myriad of different ways, and kind of walk through the adolescence with them and help them kind of mentor them and care for them and shepherd them. It's a faith-based thing, so our hope is that these kids get an opportunity to hear about Christ and how He likes them, and actually isn't here to condemn them, but He's actually here to rescue them and stuff. And so Younglife is just the program we use to have adults connect with kids and help them with that.
So is that, do you have a meeting, like once a month we meet, or how does that work?
Yeah, the most important thing we do in Younglife is adults who are walking in lives with these kids. So we do that through kind of 4 different ways, just to oversimplify Younglife as best you can. Number one is a club we do, which is kind of what a weekly gathering. So our high school actually meet every week on Sunday nights. We have an office and building on the corner of Rossman and Willow, and they meet on Sunday nights. It's a great activity where they mix humor and music and fun and high energy stuff, and they also put in there some content as well, which is really cool. So that happens every week. That's our club. And our middle school ones, we meet every other Friday night, and we'll do it often in gymnasiums and that kind of deal, because it's middle school kids like to run a little bit, so we want to give them a little space for that. So That happens every other Friday night. And then we have also another thing called Campaigners, which is separate from the club. It's for kids who are a little bit more interested in, like, they have been asking some questions. And with a large, energetic club, it's not a real place for kids to ask questions and have dialogue. It's just a place to have fun and break down some barriers and some walls that we all have. The Campaigners is where they go a little bit deeper in that. And so they ask questions. Our leaders walk with them through life. Our leaders encourage them in who they're becoming and who they are. And they just kind of answer some tough questions with each other and just do that. We also have our camps where we take kids to. And last year we took a little over 100, about 110 kids from the Lakes area to different camps. We happen to have one in our backyard, which is that Castaway Club where our banquet's at. And so we'll take kids to these camps. We took our high school kids to Michigan last year. We've taken them to Colorado in the past. We've taken them, we did a missions trip last year to Standing Rock Indian Reservation. So we do different opportunities for them to kind of get out of their comfort zones, get away from life and back here, and to kind of look at life from a different perspective. And then we also have this, which is kind of our bread and butter, is our fourth piece, which is something we call contact work, which is anytime our adults enter into the world of kids rather than just expecting kids to come to our stuff. I think a lot of times today in our culture, it's how do we attract kids? In Young Life, we feel like our job isn't to attract kids. Our job is to engage kids, and so we want to engage it with our lives. And so our leaders will, visit kids when they're working. We'll stop by them, see them on the street, and just say hi to them, and just kind of be present on their turf rather than just being in the adult turf. That happens every single day. We have leaders. We have about 30 leaders in the Lakes area that are in different ways. They're just hanging out with kids. The contact work isn't necessarily to recruit kids to Young Life. It's just to be in relationships with these kids. So a lot of our high school and middle school age friends may never come to a Young Life event, but yet they still have an adult who cares about them and is just to tell them that they're worth coming to and hanging out with. And anytime you get an adult that goes to a middle school sporting event, it's, a lot of parents don't even go to those, so it's kind of fun to have adults just show up just because they wanted to watch them and encourage them. So
now, as a child or a kid, how do you get involved, and is there a cost to this? Or?
Yeah, most of our stuff is all free, which is why we do this fundraising event. And we don't have any barriers for kids, whether it be socioeconomical or anything else that would stop a kid from being given an opportunity to come to Young Life. So all of our clubs, campaigners, and our adults, just life with them, that's all free. That doesn't cost the kid anything. And so the reason why it does is because we have staff that are there to support them, and then that's being raised by this banquet and other donors in the area. We have businesses, we have foundations, we have churches, we have individuals. They all financially support the area, so it keeps the cost low or non-existent for kids. Our camps, we do have to charge kids because we're taking them to basically a week-long thing in another part of the world, so it's transportation and all that kind of stuff. But we highly subsidize those for kids that can't afford it. And like for high school, I think it costs our area about almost $900, a little bit around there for a kid to go to camp. I think we charge the kids about $700 or less than that. Some kids were able to go last year for $500. For some early incentives. So that's why this banquet's so important. It's adults who say, we care about kids, and maybe they don't want to be the person to walk into the world of kids because for whatever reasons, but they can financially support it, or they can pray for the area, or they can be involved in one of our committees. We do many events from Christmas tree sales to triathlons, which we've been on here before I'm sharing about. And that's all being done by adults. It's volunteer-led. We have 2.5 staff, but it's really the volunteers that do it. And the banquet's a great place to kind of find out more information about that.
And how about if adults want to get involved in some of these programs?
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing about this area. We have hundreds of people involved as adults who just have whole bunch of different ways. Sometimes it's by showing up and selling Christmas trees for a day. Sometimes it's being a Young Life leader and actually going into the world of kids and showing them that they matter. We have committees for our triathlon. We have a cupcake sale fundraiser we do in the springtime for kids to raise their own money for camp. The best way to find out ways to get involved is actually come to our banquet. We're going to be sharing some different ways that you can get involved, and there's a way to indicate desire to get involved in the next year. That's where a lot of our committee will come from. That's where a lot of our leaders will come from, and people financially supporting the area as well. It's a great place to see that. It's also, the banquet's one of the places where it's a fundraiser, but we do it by highlighting the kids. The whole point is for them to see that in action. So it's our kids who share their stories. So we have kids who will tell what Young Life's been impacting in their life. Kids are involved in our skits and our program to make people laugh and break down walls with adults. It might involve confetti cannons at some point, but it's a chance to showcase what God's doing in the lives of these kids. And the banquet's a great place for adults to see what's happening and then find some ways they can get involved. And of course, you can always talk to our staff or our leaders or committee as well. But the banquet's a great place to do that.
And before we were recording, you were saying that you're seeing very high numbers of kids being involved.
Yeah, I mean, right now, as I was mentioning too, we had our first Wildlife and Younglife events, which Wildlife's our middle school ministry. We don't have deer and elk running around, but we have middle school kids, which are a little more energetic. So Wildlife and Younglife's our high school ministry. And we had our first couple of events, and between the two of them, we had about 140 kids. We had about 70 to each event, which is incredible. One thing we are finding, I've been here for 15 years and doing this in the Lakes area, and it seems more and more so. I think kids want adults in their lives, and they're eager to show up in a place where they know adults care about them. The adults aren't there just there to talk at them and tell them what to do with their life. When they feel really cared about, that's super important for them, and they feel they're attracted to that. And so as life is coming at them more aggressively every day between phones and electronics and school pressures and pressure to be involved in college and all that kind of stuff at a very young age, as that pressure in life, not even families are trying to figure out life right now, and there's just a lot that comes into the world of kids, so they're really wanting adult interaction. And so we're seeing recently that, just as I was mentioning to you guys before, is I don't feel like we're doing a lot different in Younglife. We've been around in the Lakes area for 45 years. Younglife's been here. If you came to Younglife in 1974 when it started, it's going to look a lot like it does now, but it does seem like kids are really eager to have adults who care about them. We also have our especially our high school students are very involved. So we have high school students that are actually leaders for the middle school, and they're actually the high school ones that are also helping plan their own clubs in the area. And so I think kids are also seeing that they can not just attend something, but actually be engaged in it and actually make a difference for other people. And so we're seeing that ripple effect happen. So I think that's why our numbers seem to be growing pretty dramatically right now. I mean, we have a huge amount of kids involved, and we have hundreds of kids in the Lakes area that would call Younglife something that they have. I've seen posts for kids who've been to the club for 2 or 3 times. They're writing a post on Instagram, sending a picture of Younglife and saying, "My second family." And it's just because they're eager to be involved in something beyond themselves. And so it has been really neat to see that happening and that growing. And but as that growth happens, we have more needs. We have more needs for leaders who can walk through life with these kids. We need more committee to help put on our events. We need to raise more money, because if we have, like we did last year, over 110 kids going to camp, we had to raise an extra $30,000 just to help some of the subsidizing, not even talking about the kids have to pay for camp, but just to subsidize to make it approachable. Well, $30,000 is a lot of money, and plus to keep Younglife free for all kids to go to, we do need more money, and that's because things keep growing like that. And so that's why it's so important for adults to get involved with it. So
yeah, well, thank you for all that you're doing to help the area children and our kids, I should say, and what a great program. So, and please feel free to help them by coming to this banquet on October 13th at 4:30 at the Castaway Club, which is on Pelican Lake, I believe.
In fact, one thing we want to make sure we know who's all coming, because we want to make sure there's enough food and all that kind of stuff too. So if you're interested in coming to the event, 2 ways is you can email KimberlyARamsey@hotmail.com or call our local area at 847-3567 and just say, "Hey, I'd love to come. I heard about your banquet on TV3. I'd love to come and be a part of it," and all that stuff. We'll make sure there's a seat there for you, and you have a great spot for it too. And it is free to attend. The banquet is free. It's a fundraiser, but it is free to attend, because we know that not everybody can give at certain levels. So you can literally come to the event, not in maybe saying, "Hey, I'm a prayer warrior. I want to find out about Younglife, and I want to come and help pray." Come to the event. It doesn't cost you a thing, and just attend it, and then say, "Hey, I'd like to be involved in the prayer. I'd like to join a committee." Or you might, and then there will be a place where we'll ask folks, if you're interested in giving, please indicate us how you'd like to give, and then there's a way that's how the fundraiser works. They come and they can pledge while they're there, but to go to the event, it's absolutely free. So
perfect. Well, thanks, Peter, for being on, and again, thanks for being a part of Younglife and for that many years and helping out kids. So that's going to wrap up our community calendar for this week. If you would like to get your nonprofit on, you can call Abby at 847-5624, and we'll see you next time.